Yo, what is going on, everybody in YouTube land? It's Jason Lucchese. I'm joined by Jason Palliser. I am by Michael Bredhauer. How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you?
Good as always.
Good. Jason just got done with a virtual 2-day blueprint. So that probably was interesting. They're always fun, though, and filled with tons of information. We'll go over that what a 2-day blueprint is at the end. See if any of you guys are interested. If you guys can see and hear us in YouTube land, make sure you let us know. Give us hit that thumbs up button that's right here on YouTube land, and also comment in and let us know that you could see and hear us just fine, so that we know you guys are here with us. I know we've got a good amount of people on. But Jay, tell us, how was your weekend, man?
The weekend was good. So obviously, with everything going on, we had to mix things up. We had 25 entrepreneurs that were supposed to come to me, and then we were going to do a 2-day blueprint build out and show them how to get to off-market properties 30 different ways, like we do for hedge funds and all that good stuff, which you already know. So doing it virtually was different because you can't see everybody's face. You can't get that immediate feedback and see that somebody still needs something flushed out a little bit better. So the weekend was good, but I think we all needed a break at the end of the weekend by doing this with the chat back and forth with everybody. But it was a good time. People were like, as always, you've been to something, like they were blown away. They're like, you just taught me 15. It was weird. Something was in the water yesterday. I'll say that, because they're like, I've been to this training, that training, and you literally show me 15 to 20 things that I've never even heard of in my life. So it was fun. It was a good weekend.
No, I know. We, for those that don't know, we're business partners with Jason. We have a program called the Tax Delinquent Blueprint. And what we're going to be showing on today's video is going over why we think wholesaling tax delinquents in today's market and getting yourself prepared for what's to come, because we're going to hop into this thing. I know people are still coming on right now, so we'll give some folks some time. But Jay, what's your take on things with the market right now? You've been an investor for 20 plus years, and Mike and I have only gone through the one kind of recession. You may have seen some different things. So what do you think of right now?
Yeah, so I've been through 2 cycles, if not a mini third one. And, just as far as the marketplace goes, there's going to be a correction. And I'll explain that in a minute. But like as an example, yesterday when we were doing the blueprint, I had one of my hedge fund guys. He's done 9,000 homes. We set up his systems. And so like he's got his finger on the pulse of 100 different markets, right? Because that's what he does. His name's Joe Pagano. And so he was sitting here, and it was impromptu, and we went back and forth. So I'll tell you what we talked about yesterday. There's going to be a market correction. So, of course, the federal government and then state and local governments can put a hold on things. People aren't working. People aren't making money. People are tightening their belt. People are going to start making real decisions based upon the current situation that all of us are kind of in, right? So having said that, you can't stop foreclosures, okay? You can't stop evictions. You can for a short amount of time, but that's going to correct itself. So all this uncertainty, all these expired listings, like we were talking yesterday on the training, like everyone has marching orders to literally the people that we train are by Friday of next week are going to have 100 offers on 100 expired listings, because you should. Right. So the marketplace is going to change. You're going to get properties cheaper here down the road. You're going to see a little bit of a dip. My buddy Joe that does all the hedge fund stuff and tons of cities, he's like, we're ready to buy. So, I had him here because he's a monster buyer. Anything that you put in his path, he can gobble up in 2 seconds. And so he's just like, we're chomping at the bit. So when all this stuff starts to relax and everything goes back to normal, and they say, hey, banks are able to operate normally in cities and counties, they're going to start evicting people. Those missed payments, banks are just waiting to file for foreclosure because people are just sitting around not making payments. And with all this uncertainty and people off work and unemployment going up, you're going to get good opportunities to start closing deals at a cheaper rate. There's going to be a bigger supply of inventory for sure.
I hear you. We get Tamika. I'm not sure what you're asking. You're saying YouTube channel. We're trying to have a conversation here with us, with you guys, and you're asking about your YouTube channel. We could talk about that offline if you want. We're seeing a lot of that coming across. So it's a little confusing, but I want to give some shout outs to Jim and Tilly. We've been working with them for a real long time. The Gopherts are on. Ina is here. Albert. We've got Joshua. So awesome stuff. So let me go ahead and see here. So yeah, no problem, Tamika. We're just trying to talk about the topic today, which is wholesaling tax delinquent properties. So we talk about other stuff later on, but no, Jay, I agree with you 100% on that, man. I think once things reopen and you can go back and get foreclosures going, tax delinquents going, this thing is going to be crazy. And we're going to hop in here, folks, into wholesaling tax delinquents in just a sec. I'm trying to prepare you also for what's kind of the thing that's going to be happening here. So, Jay, what are you kind of seeing, man, with I'm going to put this up as a question because we had this come in offline, but why is now the time for wholesaling tax delinquent properties, in your opinion?
Two things. Sometimes I like to put it in terms of a Reese's peanut butter cup, two wonderful things coming together at once, right? So people are behind on delinquent tax, right? So they haven't paid taxes on their property. That's usually one of the big things where people are in a highest level of motivation. So why is now the time? Because that's happening right now. And now you Reese's peanut butter cup it with all this uncertainty. Like people are like, hey, just, you know what? On top of me being behind and being in a situation, now I haven't been working. I've been helping take care of a couple of my family members who are off work. They can't support themselves. So like we're really in a pickle. That's a situation that we're in right now. And as I mentioned before, like my buddy Joe Pagano, all these hedge funds that I've done these things for, every single one of them that I talk to, they're like, they have money. They have capital. They're like, I'm ready to roll. Start putting them in front of me, and I'm going to start knocking them down one after one. So when somebody hits the level to where they're delinquent on tax on their property, usually a lot of other bad things have cascaded and happened. So, and as you know, and everybody that I've trained over the years, I tell them, I'm like, look, out of 30 different ways we get to an off-market property, right? Out of 30 different ways we get to motivated sellers. It's no secret, just like in the blueprint yesterday. When I got done with those 25 entrepreneurs and we had gone through all 30 techniques that we're setting up for them to suffocate their city, right? The one thing that all of them said when we were done, when we went over exactly how we attack delinquent tax, and I explained why it's so important, I go, what's your new favorite lead source? We were 25 for 25. They're all like, delinquent tax. Like, this is insane. This is crazy. And here's why. I already told you, Reese's peanut butter cup, two chocolate and peanut butter coming together. Delinquent on tax, uncertainty in the marketplace. They need help. They need solutions. You should be out there in front of them. Everybody else is trying to attack them. You just have to have a superior attack. And then the other thing based upon that, which you may or may not know, and when you watch this video or ask questions, whatever you want to do, here's why delinquent tax should be your favorite lead source of off-market property of all time. Here's what I know with certainty, okay? Every state in America has put laws in place that if you're behind on your taxes, they put laws in place to get their taxes, okay? They're going to get their tax money no matter what. So they put all these laws in place to say, hey, if you're behind on taxes by X amount of dollars, then after this amount of time, state dependent, right? After this amount of time, by law, we can go ahead and sell your house at a tax deed sale. Or by law, another human being can buy your tax lien so the state gets their money. Now you owe that other person that tax lien money, but if they own that tax lien for 1 year or 2 years, then they can file to do a tax deed sale and take the house. So what does that mean? So that means states are going to get their money and they put things in place. So as a professional investor, if you know those rules, and again, as you know this, We teach that in the Tax Delinquent Blueprint. If you know the rules, that we teach you the right things to learn in that area, then you can talk to every person delinquent on tax and say, hey, look, you're in a situation. I know the rules of engagement here. We don't think the process is fair. Let's find a solution. And people just start coming to you. That's one. And then two, and then let's just move forward and pound the earth together. Banks will foreclose on a house that's delinquent on tax. So if it's Jason and Jason Bank, Jason and Mike Bank here, and we have a loan on a house that's $200,000, John and Sally Smith, and we find out, and in the paperwork that you sign, we get notified whether or not the taxes have been paid. Okay, and we find out that John and Sally Smith haven't paid their taxes. As a bank, we know better. That's why we put it in our paperwork. We know that if they haven't paid their taxes, we're in danger of falling to a second lien position, even though we have a first mortgage lien on there, because states put laws in place that say, hey, delinquent tax will supersede the mortgage, which means it can be sold a tax sale and no one cares if we get our money back. So the bank is going to foreclose. So banks will foreclose on properties and homeowners that have delinquent tax, and they find out about it because they don't want to lose their lien. They don't want to lose the $200,000 loan that they put in place, right? So therefore, by process of elimination, why delinquent tax is my favorite resource of all time, is that houses that are marching towards tax sale, getting closer and closer and closer, typically don't have mortgage. So imagine a world as an investor where you're trying to make a win-win situation in the marketplace, and you're going to focus on a 30 different ways to get off the market lead. You can do anything. There's $500, this, that, probate. Why would you not focus your professional efforts on a lead source that typically, when it gets to that point where it's close to being lost to the tax sale?
Hey, Jay.
Yeah.
Jay, you're kind of going in and out.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. You were going over some really some juiciness, and it was going a little bit in and out. Mike, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay. I don't know if I'm okay. Somebody mentioned
Alistair, you look frozen. Maybe he's.
There he is.
Oh, I see the eyebrows going up and down. Oh, they moved again.
Yeah, no, can you guys hear me just fine or no?
Yeah, you're coming in now.
Okay.
Perfect. Let's roll with it. No, I'm glad you mentioned the mortgage stuff, because a lot of people might be thinking, well, why would I go after a tax delinquent property if the property's worth $250 and it's only worth and they have a balance of $240 and they're behind $10,000 in delinquent taxes? Like, why would I do that? And you bring up a really great point. And, most of the like I would say 95% of the properties we're going after do not have any liens whatsoever on them. They're completely free and clear. So if you go about the right types of leads, you're getting people that are in a solution in a problem that is not going to get fixed anytime soon. And they are in a position where they're going to lose the house. An investor's going to come out. An investor probably already came out and took the lien, and they just don't know that, hey, I've got 6 months left, and then I'm going to get absolutely $0 because they don't have a mortgage. Nobody's going to be there to bail them out. And unfortunately, the county's not going to do anything either, because all they care about is getting paid their taxes. What would you say to that, Jay?
That's 100% correct. What you need, if you're watching this video, or eventually you watch this video, what you need to know and understand is this. The states are going to get their money. They're ready. They're potentially going to lose the house. They need a solution in yourself. The problem is that the house probably needs work. So if the house needs work and they don't have the money for it, then why the heck are they going to pay the taxes too when they know they can't even fix it up? So that's a supreme opportunity as a professional investor for you to come in and create some sort of win-win situation. And the really cool part about it is that these type of leads, they desperately need help. You need to be the solution. And you can use almost any real estate investing exit strategy when the houses are free and clear. Here's a typical lead, and I think this will help everybody that hears this video and listens. Here's a typical lead. Somebody that makes $2-3 grand a month, yet they're $2-3 grand a month, yet their bills are $2 to $3 grand a month. The house needs work. It needs fixed up. It's outdated. Things are old. Things are broken. You name it. And now they're also behind on taxes. They simply don't have the ability. Medical issues. You name it. They're in a pickle. They don't have the ability to fix all of this. That's where you come in as a professional investor to help them out.
So, and Rebecca just asked a great question. Welcome, Rebecca. Welcome, Renee. Glad you guys are here. So Rebecca asked a great question. So what happens if they don't pay back the taxes at all? And Jay, you and I both know what happens to that, and that they lose the property, especially if there's no mortgage. They just lose the property. So any equity that they had in the property, it's gone. They don't get anything. This isn't like an overage, which we're going to talk about an overage here in just a minute. But Jay, they don't get anything, right?
They get zero. And here's the thing. For some of you that hear this or that you're watching now, here's what I know. Okay. On your end, you're sitting there, you still have some missing pieces to the puzzle, and you're trying to learn here right now. You're like, why would if they don't have any mortgage on their house and it's worth 150 grand or whatever the amount is, why would they not just use the equity to pay off the taxes, fix up the house, pay off some bills? Here's what you're not understanding yet, and here's why this should be your favorite lead source of all time. And if you do it right, imagine creating win-win situations over and over and over for people who really need it and making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. What you need to understand is this. They probably are in a position to where they can't go get a loan. Their debt ratio is out of whack. Yeah. Something happened. They had medical stuff come up, which got them in the pickle in the first place. And they have judgments against them. Therefore, their credit isn't good enough. Therefore, they can't go get a loan. Or 99% of banks, okay? And so I'm giving you all the reasons why this should be your favorite and why I'm trying to solve in your brain for the rest of the history of your life on why people could have free and clear houses, but then they feel like they can't get anything done. And then the final thing is that, beyond a debt ratio problem, beyond judgments, this, that, and the other thing. I've been in banking for 25 years. 99% of banks will not lend money. Listen to me. They will not lend money on a house that isn't all fixed up and needs work. They typically don't lend money on assets that need work. It's called deferred maintenance, because when you go to get a loan, it'll fall apart at the appraisal because the appraiser's not going to lose his license by overlooking this stuff to be fixed up. They're going to say it needs windows, there's a hole in the floor, there's a leaky ceiling, and the deferred maintenance, which will be on the appraisal, the deferred maintenance is $5 grand. If a bank, I've been a banker for 25 years. I was #1 in the state of Missouri for closings way back when. Okay. The rules are if there's on an appraisal more than $500 in work on a property, that's too much deferred maintenance and that loan gets denied. Doesn't matter if they had a 750 credit score. Doesn't matter if they have $100,000 reserves in the bank. That loan's going to be set aside until it's fixed and the appraiser goes back out. So what most people don't understand when you're attacking this niche is that those people who have equity probably already explored those options and ran into the roadblock that I'm teaching you right now, so that when you go forward as a pro, because we can teach you how to be a pro in the tax delinquent space with our tax delinquent blueprint. If you go forward like a pro with knowledge, now you know that, okay, banks, yeah, I see you got a little bit of work. And I know if it's over 500, the bank isn't really probably going to give you a loan. Oh, and you have a debt ratio problem, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and you're behind on taxes. They really, really, really need help, but they don't have anybody to turn to because no one's knowledgeable enough to say, hey, you probably ran into this. If you haven't, this is what's going to happen. Let's talk about a real solution here. It's fun to solve people's problems on houses where they have tons of equity because we can do almost, as you guys know, we can do almost anything under the sun to solve it. But you have to, as a professional investor, understand why it's a favorite lead source of all time, because typically if it's going to tax sale, there's no mortgage.
Right.
Bigger spreads for you when you become a solution for them. It's great. But you have to understand from their mindset, they're in a pickle. Something happened, behind on taxes, debt ratio problem, and they can't get a loan because typically most banks won't even give them a loan if there's more than $500 in work. So imagine almost every house you've seen before as a professional investor, needs the house I'm in right now, which is in pretty good working order, probably needs $500 in work. So therefore, imagine a person that's also on top of that in a pickle, and they probably explored options. And unless you show them why you are the tax care advocate for your area, there's no reason for them to talk to you. But once you do, you'll find out again and again and again and again and again. Lots of equity. They feel like they have no solutions. You come in as a pro because you have knowledge now on what their real situation is, and you solve it, and you make money. They give you testimonials. They refer you other clients, and you've truly helped somebody out. And it's a good feeling. You can make, in just this niche alone, you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year helping people.
Yeah.
Actually,
go ahead. Go ahead,
I was
Mike.
going to say there's somebody on that's watching right now made a comment earlier who's taken the strategy, and I think they could attest to that. You know, they've actually talked to people who, Jason, who've given up, and they've actually said, you know what, I'm just going to let the county have it because they're running into so many of these closed doors. And he actually had been coming across that up until he started using this approach. He was like, man, I just talked to a guy. Jim, I can't remember what the problem was, but it was
I'll put his thing up on there.
Yeah.
Jim and Tilly posted this. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, it was an enormous amount. And he's like, yeah, I talked to a guy, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, but you said he let it go to tax sale. And then you and I had talked about implementing the blueprint in the next one. And then I think he's got another comment I saw. He's got an appointment to sit down and actually talk with this seller, because again, Jason, he was running into roadblocks he couldn't get assistance because for anything, for any sort of Social Security, for any sort of assistance on getting disability payment, I think, or anything like that. There was a few different things he had tried to do to get additional assistance, and roadblock.
Yeah, states put these rules in place to get their money. And one way they get their money is it ends up in a tax sale. So that house will absolutely get taken. And it supersedes mortgages. I don't care if it's a line of credit. I don't care if it's a reverse mortgage, a first mortgage, second mortgage, 10th mortgage. It doesn't matter. It's going to supersede it. And then all of a sudden they're going to be left holding the bag with nothing. That's why as a professional, you come in with knowledge, which we teach you all the things that you need to know for your county and area. So on any given day, arbitrarily, when you talk to anyone that's in that situation, you know what to tell them. And then they listen to you because you know what to tell them and say, hey, let's talk about some different solutions here. And then you solve their problem. You benefit at the same time. It's a win-win. That's like the Reese's peanut butter cup. You solve somebody's problem and help them out. And also you profit and benefit from it as a professional, as somebody that knows what they're doing in this space. And once you know what you're doing in this space, it is completely unfair to your competition. They have no shot.
Well, and here's what Jim said. He says he's meeting with him on Wednesday to sign the docs. He tried short sale, but too many roadblocks, and he cannot borrow any more against the reverse mortgage. So what we're essentially doing here is being an advocate for somebody that doesn't have anybody else to help them. Like literally, there is nobody else out there. There's no grant programs. There's nothing from the state, nothing from the government. When we are approaching these folks, we are literally like their last shot. And a lot of people, when we call them, have given up. And when we could talk to them and we can solve many of their problems, because most of the folks we talk to have 4, 5, 6+ problems. And we can normally knock out all of those problems with our approach that we do. And one of the things is, Rebecca asked this, so do you get to keep it? Well, we're not talking about buying the tax lien as a certificate at the auction, but if you were to buy the tax lien, like the certificate at the auction, yes, if by the time the redemption period is up and taxes go unpaid, you get to keep the property. So yeah, but that's not what we're talking about. We want to try and help the homeowners out as best as possible before they end up losing the house. So that's what we're looking to do.
Yeah. So basically, essentially, hey, you could buy a tax lien, hold on to it. And if your state says hold on to it for a year, and you can file to turn it into a tax deed, just so you know, to teach you, you don't necessarily every time get to keep that house. It goes up for tax auction where anybody can buy it, because you've filed for the right to make sure that you get your tax lien money back. Okay, so there's different, and that's what we teach you to learn in each market. And one last thing before we move on to this here, about talking about leads and being free and clear. It happens to everyone. One of the students that just trained 30 days ago, it's like first thing I'm doing is tax delinquent. His name's Jason. He's out of South Florida, and he talked to a homeowner. He's $75,000 behind on taxes, no mortgage on it, and the house is worth $1.2 million. And the guy's a doctor. And he ran into some situations via divorce and a few other things happening where he's taking care of family members. But he moved down there and his license doesn't transfer, so he hasn't had work. And so he's in a very, very, very big world-class pickle. And talked to the tax delinquent blueprint client, and we're helping work out a feasible solution in that situation. But it happens to everybody.
No, absolutely. And real quick, I wanted to address this as Richard asked. Yes. So right now we're live. It's 2:57 p.m. Eastern. So we are live with this, but we're recording this. So once we're done, you'll be able to watch this forever, as long as YouTube's alive. So, you know, if there's an apocalypse after we're done here with the quarantine, maybe it might go away, but for right now, it's available. So great question, Richard.
Yeah, and this is super important. I'm glad he's asking the question. Look, if YouTube goes away, there's probably gonna be some other problems, but we promise you, okay? We promise you that we'll just start a new website that you can go to called TaxTube. Okay.
I like it.
Well, you know, I want to point something out to that, Jason, because like you said, you had recently just had a very small group of high-level people that were trying to learn some really some deep secrets that you use, and that was all done virtually. Just like Jim on this call. Jim lives in California. We helped him out. He's in our blueprint. We helped him out with this call. He's in California, and again, just an over-the-phone thing, talking to his seller. I'm in Indiana, so you know this whole thing. How do you approach him? How do you talk to him? I know you put that question up there. How do you approach him? It's done from a virtual standpoint. You don't have to go out and leave, especially right now. It's very important to note that you can help these people without having to go out and leave your desk.
Yeah, you don't have to be at their house. You'll quickly uncover in a matter of 2 minutes of being on the phone with them. You say, hey, look, as a tax care advocate, let's ask a few questions to see where you're at and see if we can get you some sort of assistance, right? Because you're coming from an advocate standpoint. And you say, hey, tell me your financial situation and tell me about the house. Those two things together will really give me the landscape of what I think I can do for you. And then you just approach them that way. And the funny thing is, when you approach them from an advocate standpoint, which we have detailed out, every question you ask, how you enter the phone call, how you exit the phone call, because we've been testing this out in 100+ cities for 6+ years. We have it down to a science. If you do it the right way, here's the other fun part for everybody here who's trying to be an investor or already is an investor and is looking to expand. As a professional investor, if you talk to them the right way, here's the fun part. If you've been doing this for any sort of time whatsoever, I'm sure you've got this before. Oh, you're just one of those flippers. But when you come as a tax care advocate, they're just saying, hey, tell me what you can do from an assistance standpoint, because we teach you all the things to know to talk to them intelligently. And then the cool part is it's instantly a relationship with them. They're like, hey, I'll tell you anything you want to know. I just truly need your help. I'm like, cool. I'm gonna ask you about your financial situation, about your house, and a few other questions, which we have detailed out for everybody that we get our hands on, that know that this is going to be their favorite niche of all time. And then it's the easiest conversation you could ever have.
And Jay, the one thing too, man, that I want to point out is when we approach these folks the right way with the right marketing approach, we've actually talked to folks like, you know what, it's so refreshing to hear from you. I've got a pile of postcards and letters from people that are just wanting to take advantage of me. And it's truly, you know, an amazing conversation that we're having with these folks. Main reason why is they're letting us know of all of their problems so that we could be a problem solver and advocate to them during a situation that they really need somebody to be that individual that they could lean upon, because they don't have that from anybody else. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So
yeah, it's not fair. Like it's fun. It's fun when they say, and again, if you do this the right way, it's fun when they say on the phone, like you said, Jason, hey man, I really do need your help. I've had 100 people. I've had 100 postcards, 100 letters saying, hey, before you lose your house at tax sale, can I put some cash in your pocket? And that's all they do. Right. So if you're out there and you're hearing this for the first time, or you hear this on a replay or whatever, and you've been in that space where investing feels hard because you're getting hit with homeowners, all the other investors in the universe have done the job to make you look like a used car salesman as an investor. They've done a good job because they have all pounded those same homeowners with the same text message blast and the same voicemail drops and the same put some cash in your pocket. So most of these homeowners are jaded to you as a regular old investor. So hopefully this is impacting you from this standpoint. When you come from a completely different approach to where because you're knowledgeable and you have an advocate hat on, it's so refreshing to them that, like, literally we've had people on the phone start crying, like, you're the first person that's even asked me anything about how what my real situation is, how you can help me. And it's most of the time because they get on the phone if they half-heartedly call on that same old marketing, and like, you're just one of those flippers. And usually the investor has to work his way out of, or he or she has to work their way out of that. Imagine a world where you never enter a phone call like that ever again in this space. It's amazing.
And the great thing is and on the training class that we do, the training webinar, we show a screenshot of a lady that needed our help so badly. She called us 12 times in a row until we were off the phone and she was able to get a hold of us. She needed help that bad. So real quick, Rebecca was, so you are talking about helping before it goes to auction. Yes, we are. We're talking about, before it goes to the auction. So let's see here. Yeah, we do have so Rebecca was asking, so this is funny, helping people in quotation marks. You wanna do this one? I love when we get some people like that on here.
Yeah, so helping people. We could go through, we maybe even do another video, show investors that are trying to decide what niche that they want to be a solution on, right? Tax delinquent's my favorite, as you guys know. But we get all the time, are you truly helping people? We should just do another show and just give them testimonial after testimonial after testimonial. We don't come in saying, hey, let's see what we can do to help you out. And then we like come with a mask on and try and rob them and take their house from them. That doesn't happen. Two parties have to agree. Two parties have to, I've never seen anybody sell a house or do anything of the sort where two parties didn't agree, because the transaction doesn't happen. But we come, again, that's where the detailed questions come in. We ask them questions that, as you're listening here, that we probably know you've never even asked a homeowner in your life, right? So when we get that detailed, we have the real landscape of the real situation that they're in, and then we solve it for them. So as you're listening here, or helping, LOL, laugh out loud, whatever you want to say, one thing that we'll teach you when we do this is that we don't buy every house. We try and help everyone we talk to. So we certainly don't buy every house of every homeowner that we talk to. We offer them different things. We offer them some sort of tax assistance without even buying their house. But that's what we teach in the program. How can you do that, right? There's ways to do that without even buying their house. Secondly, if the situation dictates it, again, they're having an open conversation with you because of the way you approached them, right? So they tell you everything. So through that conversation, sometimes we talk to them about just giving them tax loan. Okay. Now there's things that you need to do if you give somebody a loan to pay off their taxes. It'll save that tax sale. But now you have a lien against the property. And so we teach you what we do, how we set those expectations with them to say, hey, we're not just doing this. We need to get our money paid back. Right. So we put those definite expectations in place to help them get out of their situation. And guess what they do? They send us referrals. Right. So there's several things that we do that we teach people, and several of them have nothing to do with buying their house. So coming from a standpoint of truly trying to educate that homeowner, hey, here's what's going to happen to you. Here's what's going to happen in your county. Here's why. Here's where we're at. Can you correct this? Yes or no? Can you do this? Tell me about this. Tell me what your expectation is a year from now, 2 years from now. And we have all those questions. And remember, they're on the phone spilling their guts because they want your real help. Now we construct a solution based upon what they said. And a lot of times it has nothing to do with buying their house. So helping people, that's what we really do.
No, I wanted to, a lot of people dodge questions like that from folks. I love when people kind of put those types of questions out, because, you know, most investors, especially like new wholesalers that come out and they go and do the we buy houses type method, they got one thing in mind, and that is to try and get the property at the lowest amount possible. And are they really truly trying to think about helping and giving benefits to somebody, like really trying to solve somebody's problems? As soon as they get that no, are they sticking around to potentially help? No. We're at least trying to do every possible scenario and exhaust everything for them. And like Jay was saying, sometimes we leave without getting the property under contract, but we were able to still give them an option to help them. And yeah, that's what we do. So,
and I'll say this, I'll put a cherry on top of this. And so when people say, "Oh, help me," and laugh out loud, that just lets me know what your approach has been probably in the past, because no one's broken it down on a level like this to where you can actually wake up on a daily basis and experience different relationships and conversation based upon being a professional investor that does really truly try and help people. Not to say that you're not trying to help people, whoever put that in there, which is fine. We're not here to talk about that. I'm just saying you've swam in the waters of, hey, we'll do the marketing and then just hit them and try and get the best deal for us. We teach the exact opposite. And when you do that, as I said earlier, now I'll repeat it again and we can move on. When you do it the way that we do it and offer solutions, a lot of them that don't even include buying their house at all, then it's not a fair fight. It's like the people that we just trained over the last 2 days are like, dude, they're like, the first thing I'm doing out of the 30 things that you do to uncover a off-market motivated seller and get them coming to us, they're like, I'm doing tax delinquent without a doubt.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So no, we got that taken care of. You know, if that person wants to ask more questions, that's fine. We're live here on YouTube. But Jay, we got this one that came offline. What's the difference between a tax lien and tax deed state?
Okay, tax lien versus a tax deed state. And again, you're trying to learn, and hopefully you're uncovering that this is probably going to be your favorite niche. It should be. It's the most profitable one of all time as well. You need to learn certain things. So inside the tax delinquent blueprint, we break down all the things that you need to find out for your state. This. One of them is tax lien, or is it a tax deed state? A tax lien state typically operates like this. John Smith on December 31st hasn't paid his taxes. Now it's January 1st. He's officially 1 year behind. Okay. So now that you're 1 year behind in a tax lien state, they're going to place a tax lien against your property because you didn't pay your taxes. So the city, state, county is going to put a lien against your property. Then there, at any given time, every state's different, and we teach you what to do to find out. Maybe it's March 1st. Maybe it's April 15th, like down in Florida. You're behind on January 1st for one previous year. On April 1st, that lien they put on your house over the first 3 months of the year is now sold as a tax lien to an investor like you listening right now, or one of us three on here. And now you own that tax lien. So in your state, maybe the tax lien is a 12% return on that tax lien until it's paid. Okay. Some of them you bid to win the tax lien. So whoever's going to charge the least amount of money to the homeowner. So it's the law in that state or county is protecting the homeowner a little more. People bid on that tax lien on April 15th or whatever day it is in your county. And let's say, Jason, you said, I'll buy that tax lien and they owe me 7% interest. And Mike says 6%. And I say 5.99. I'll win it at 5.99. So the homeowner still owes a tax lien to me now. Now the state's got their money. That's why they put the law in place, so the state's happy. And now the burden of them paying off that tax lien goes to me, and I get a 5.99% return on that money. If they don't, in a tax lien state, now that I have the tax lien, that homeowner still doesn't have to pay me. Now I want my money, right? So the other laws in place say, hey, Jason, thanks for giving us our money at the state. The state's like, thank you, appreciate that, Jason. Now you get 5.99% interest, and but the homeowner's still not paying you. So they have other rules in place that say, hey, after 12 months or 24 months of owning this lien, Jason, you have the right to get your money. So it's basically almost guaranteed money, right? So you have the right to get your money, Jason, after 24 months. So now I go in a tax lien state, go to the county and say, I own this lien. I want to file for a tax deed sale because I've waited my 2 years for them to pay me. They didn't do what they're supposed to do. So you put the law in place that says I wait 2 years. Now I can force a tax deed sale and get my money back, right? So that's a tax lien state. You can buy a tax lien and now the homeowner owes you money, okay? The techniques that we do, swim around all that and get the homeowner to talk to us to be a solution so that as a professional investor, you can pay my tax lien off and also make it a win-win situation. So we kind of supersede that. Okay. And then a tax deed state is simple. Tax deed state says, if you're this many years behind on taxes, we send you to tax sale on this day. Okay. So it's a tax deed sale and then it's done and over with. That's the difference.
Gotcha. Cool. This is a really good one right here. Denise was asking, are we, and I think this is finding instead of funding. Are we finding these people on PropStream or at the courts? Now, I do like PropStream. It is a good software, but the thing I will tell you is you need to get this information directly from the courts, because a lot of the softwares out there from getting the tax data, it's very stale. And I've heard this from several of the owners that own a lot of these places. It's hard to get up-to-date information, and you need to get up-to-date information, especially for the individuals you're going to be wanting to send marketing to with your tax delinquent opportunity. So I personally would say PropStream is great outside of using them for tax delinquent deals. So Jay, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah. So Denise, you've asked a loaded question. Here's why. Every state and county in America is different. Okay. So some of them make it easy. Some of them from your couch, you just type on your computer and you pull up the county level. It shows you all the delinquent tax, and they're user friendly. And they even have a little button for you to say, I only want a Excel spreadsheet of 2 years behind. And they make it very easy for you to manipulate and grab it. Some counties do, some don't. Some make you go in, and it's still that easy, but they make you physically go in and do it at their office for whatever reason. Some of them may make you pay to go through some service to get it. Okay, so two things. One, however you can get it. That's one. Two, if it's harder to get for your area, you should get mega excited, because if it's hard to get, it becomes those tax delinquent leads become 1,000. They're the best leads of all time out of any other lead that you could ever get as a real estate investor. But then now it's a little bit tougher to get. Then it becomes 1,000 times more valuable.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the videos I'm going to be doing here is a lot of people showed a lot of interest, and they want to know about list stacking. We're not going to do that today. I'm going to talk about it in another video. But yeah, when it's harder to get those leads, do you think everybody else is going to be going after them? Out of 100%, I would say 99.55% aren't going after those leads, because when things are difficult, people aren't going to go after them. Now, you could send off 10,000 mailers to people using PropStream, not a problem, but your response rate is going to be so low. I have nothing against PropStream. I know a lot of the folks over that PropStream. We use PropStream, but not for tax delinquent properties. So hopefully that makes sense. So we had another thing coming from Denise. So great question. I live in California, and out here, these people will want some type of money to move. So yeah, we are going to give this. Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
I got this. Denise, agreed with you. Some people want money to move, some don't. Every situation is different. Okay. So, hey, Jason, but out here, some of the people still want some money to move. Perfect. Think about this. This is why you're here. This is why you're listening. I'll repeat again and again, just so that everybody gets this. Marching to tax sale, a lot of times they don't have big mortgages on them. So is there room for you to have plenty of money left over to help pay to get them to move? Yeah, by a mile. Versus any other type of lead source that you could go after, this is the one lead source that you can make all of those things happen.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And then I was going to say, Jason, when you're talking about how hard it is to get those leads, like are 99.9% of people, are they actually going through all the motions to get those leads? Probably not. And then that small percentage of people that are, 99% of those people are doing the other method of sending, hey, let's buy your house before it goes to tax sale.
Yeah, it's we were laughing on the training live stream over here yesterday. I keep pointing over there where we're having it. Everybody was laughing, like they're in the chat, and my team was, when we got to the section, they're like, The consistent theme yesterday, once we went through the entire tax delinquent blueprint section of that, right? And remember, I'll frame this by saying we do this for big companies that need 1,000 homes in the city. So teaching individual investors over the last 2 days 30 different ways to get to off-market property and suffocate their city. When we got to this one, they all voted this is their number one. But here's the thing. When we went through it, here was a consistent theme that they said, this isn't fair. Like the approach, they haven't even done it yet. And they're like, I can clearly see that I'm going to have people coming to me and giving me all the information, which I would never get out of a normal lead. And some of these people here on the training yesterday, most of them were doing 0 to 3 to 4 deals a month. And some of them in the training were doing 15 a month. Okay. So they're already doing a lot of deals. Everyone said, the ones that are doing a lot of deals, the ones getting started, they all said, they're like, I clearly see these leads are literally going to call me ready to spill their guts on here's what I need. And I'll tell you anything, just help me. By the way that we position this. And they're just like, one of them yesterday on the chat goes, can we end class 2 hours early? Because I want to get started on this right freaking now.
Well, it hits them that hard too, because they all see like, oh yeah, this is what everyone else is doing. We'll be one of the first people in my area to ever try this. And
correct, yeah.
And then when they read through it, it's like, oh my God, it makes sense to hit them instead of the me approach, the hey, what can we do for you approach.
And we lined up, we lined up several. So what we did yesterday for fun, it's the first time I ever did it. We lined up several different pieces of marketing in this niche and put them on the screen for everybody at home to see. And said, hey, we'll take a 5-minute break. Like, read through all of them and vote A, B, C, D, E. And when we came back, I'm like, okay, simultaneously, as we're getting the ball rolling, vote on which one you would call. Not which one do I think would work. Which one would like literally make you call as a professional investor? And they all picked the tax delinquent blueprint letter that we send out, which is we've had 100 variations of it. We have it down to a science. All of them. And some of them were slight different changes. All of them picked the one that we know is an absolute bona fide winner.
No, that's yeah, we do. We know which one wins.
You know which one, yeah.
So Jay, a lot of people, and we've been, talking about this for a while now, and we try and give people the differences between what's the difference between what we're doing, wholesaling tax delinquent properties versus tax sale overages. Do you want to just briefly cover that so people know that this tax overages is basically something that happens after the auction? So you want to kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I think there's a phrase I think it's a newer phrase. Maybe it's been around a year or two. Early bird gets the worm. Like, okay, tax overages, tax sale happens. So they're behind several years, getting letters, fines, judgments. Everybody's attacking them under the sun. Then they lose their house to tax deed to tax sale, or just simply a tax deed sale, depending on the state you're in. And if somebody buys it for $100,000 and the tax liability was $50,000, there's some overs there. And in certain states, not all states. Okay, so think about this. Think about the perspective. In certain states, not all states, people get those overages, right? They're entitled to it. And then you can try and do that strategy where you go hunt, find overages, hunt down the homeowners that have moved and gone all these different places. You can do all that stuff and hunt after the tax sales happen, after the bad events happen. Or what we do, which is on the front end, before all that stuff has happened, we get in front of them at such superior level on a whole different playing field, where we truly try and help them and give them solutions. A lot of them that don't even center around buying their house, including end up to that. This isn't fair. We're getting there first. Everybody knows that you should get there first. And remember what I said. If it's marching towards tax sale, probably doesn't have mortgages on it. That's probably one of the best leads that I'll ever talk to. So I'm going to get there first. And that's what we do. We've tested out in 138 plus cities what to do. 6 years of fine tuning and testing. And just to kind of give people what happened, it was this. We had 100 different variations of what we're doing. And all these people that I work with, the data was flowing back to me. So imagine over a several year period, I'm like, okay, these 7 are beating these 12, because I'm getting the feedback. They're like, hey, this month we got this many phone calls based upon X, Y, Z. So then I'm like, okay, so these 7 are winning. Let me do variations of these 7 and then have those other ones try those out. And they're like, okay, we're getting a much better response now. And imagine zeroing in down to the one, and again, you smile because you guys know the one, down to the one that we narrowed it down to 3 or 4. Then we had all of them in 138 do those 3 or 4. Out of those 3 or 4, okay, these 2 are winning. They're beating these one by a 50% clip, and then just narrowed it down, fine-tuned it, and tweaked it to the final one that we started testing. And we still test them from time to time and improve here and there. But all of them at the final stage, they're all just getting mega. Like if you've done any direct mail, I don't even want to go into it because I'll probably break YouTube here. But the response rates that we get on the tax advocacy stuff that we send out is astronomical. I won't say it. You guys might leak it out of your mouth, but I ain't saying it because if they hear it out of me, we're going to start getting some nasty comments, and it will suck when we have to go back on it again. Then we show you, and then someone has to eat crow, and it won't be me. Don't get me started.
You know what? It's amazing. Just the, because somebody had asked a little bit earlier about, do you call them or do they call you?
Oh yeah, that's right.
And when Jason's talking about this letter and the approach, and he's talking about, you're laughing because he's telling us this because we're laughing because when Jason, you'll have to talk about how you and Palliser met. But when Palliser was talking to us about the strategy and training us so we can implement our own blueprint, he was kind of giggling like, oh yeah, you're going to send this letter out and the phone's going to ring. And we're like, okay, whatever. We've heard it all before, even though the Jason, they kind of had their own understanding. But me, I didn't know Palliser from anything. So we sent out our letter, and then boom, the phone explodes. Literally just, I'm looking over at Lucchese like, dude, we're going to have to respond to voicemails. Like we messed up.
Can I expand on this for fun?
Sure.
So, when I came to them, because Jason and I have been friends for a long time, and I'm like, Jason, hey, do you want to partner with me on the tax delinquent blueprint? I go, it's destroying the universe, and so we started going through it, and as Mike is saying, Jason and Mike are like, as I'm going through it, imagine you as an investor right now, and then me just pulling back the curtain. So Jason and Mike are investors too, just like you. I'm an investor just like you listening right now. But when I started going through them, and they're professionals, they have other training out there that they've done and help people, right? Help other investors be free, all that good stuff, right? But I'm sitting there going, I'm sitting there going to a couple friends and peers of mine that I know are pros. And as I'm going through it, and I started walking them through, here's what we do, the letter. I even let them listen to some of the voicemails that we get and how motivated they are. Imagine as I'm going through it, and all of a sudden I'm doing my thing, and I look back up at them, and they're both like this.
I remember that Zoom call.
They haven't done anything yet, and then they go. So they said, "Yeah, let's build it out, and help people that want to be the absolute authority in the best niche inside the real estate sandbox." So then we started working on it, but then they implemented it and hit go. When they text me, they just send me a text. Hey, yeah, we just dropped our first tax advocacy letters, and that was it. I didn't respond back to them, or I probably said, hey, good. But on my end, when I got the text like this, hey, we just sent it out. I looked at it and I said, oh, okay, good. But then as I put it down, I just had one of these. I was like, yep, it's coming. Because they're like, are you sure? Right? I'm going to hit you guys. Hey, we're going to do it. I really do like it. I feel like it's going to. And are you sure, though? Like, are you sure you're going to get that type of response rate? And then sure enough, within like 3 days, my phone's going off. Hey, Mike. Hey, yeah, I'm here with Jason. Yeah, dude, we're going to have to hire somebody. These people that are coming into us are insane. And I'm like, told you. I was like, click, done. And these people have real situations. We've tested all these different ways to get them to raise their hand and talk to us, just like all you other investors that are sending out. You've had training. Just be consistent and you'll get some deals closed. I'll put some cash in your pocket. I'm tired of that, okay? So while you're doing that, listening to that, I'm sitting there fine-tuning and getting data from all these companies that I work with from around the nation, and I'm zeroing in on the ones that I know. Just get them the call, and here's how the phone call. Hey, yeah, so I got your tax assistance code letter saying that you could potentially help based upon my situation. Tax assistance code TAC 4244001. Yeah. All I need to do is answer a few questions with you and find out what your situation looks like financially, and then also about the house, and then we can craft some real solutions for you. So give me about 48 hours and I can get you an answer. What's an email? Because we'll email you over an approval if we get one. and boom, I get their email right away. They're not yelling at me saying I'm one of those flippers. Incoming phone calls.
That quick too. They really go through that quick. There's not a lot of back and
We're
forth.
happy to talk to you.
Yeah.
They'll tell you everything. You say, they'll be lathered up in the moment going, yeah, just please help me answering all your questions. You slip in a little sneaky one like, hey, what's your favorite color? They're like, purple. They'll tell you anything you want to know.
I haven't done that one yet, but Jason Palace has been pushing me to do that. Just ask him your favorite color. Just ask him.
I'm telling you.
It's part of the approval process.
Yeah, it's part of the approval. We need to know your favorite color.
Oh, purple. Sorry.
Yeah.
Purple.
For folks looking at the screen right now, if you would like to receive a copy of our letter intent document for free, no charge, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and also make sure you drop a comment with a yes. And I'll make sure it'll get dropped in either Wednesday or Friday's video, because we're doing videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So we'll make sure to get that document out there. So if we get enough folks that do want that, definitely let me know here. So we had somebody ask us, we weren't going to talk about this in particular on here, but Rebecca was asking how much is the training program? And right now, the best thing to do with that is I'm going to show you guys a link. Contact us, schedule a call. It's at the link that is on the screen right now. Go to calendly.com/no flipping excuses/tax. I know that's a big link, so I'll keep it up on the screen, and I'll also put it in the chat right now. So let me see here. So Jim and Tilly, I sent out a few, and they kept telling me I am protected the next 3 months. So
perfect. Here's the funny thing. They're telling you that they know they're running out of time. Hey, I'm protected over the next 3 months. Well, guess what? 90 days from now, would you like to set an appointment for 90 days from now? Because then it's right back on.
Yeah.
Right. So that's fine. So I'd just be user friendly with them. Yeah, no, I'm glad that right now states and the federal government are giving everybody some breathing room. You deserve that. So why don't we just schedule a call for like 75 days from now, because you've got about a 90-day reprieve here. It gives us a lot of time to figure out the solutions. Make sense? That's what I would do.
Yeah, no, makes total sense, because a lot of people right now, and Jay, let me ask you this too. While this is kind of a hot topic with everything that's going on right now, this really isn't anything about tax delinquent, but do you see an opportunity too for individuals that are landlords right now? Do you see an opportunity with getting properties from landlords?
Yeah, because people aren't paying their rents. You know what that's called? Heartburn. Okay.
And the same people, right?
Yeah. Same rules apply. They have taxes. If the renters aren't paying, then they probably don't have money to fix up stuff. They might even stop paying the landscaping person to come over to save money. Things start cascading. Now all of a sudden that renter has skated for 3 or 4 months, and now they move out, and now a landlord has an empty property and the landscaping's not done. Of course I would talk to landlords. There's going to be, when all this stuff, like I would be hitting the landlords. I'd be hitting the landlords like crazy right now.
And we've got a really great site to do that at. And I'll go back to our stuff here in just a second. But if you want us to talk about how to find those individuals, give us a thumbs up on this YouTube video right now. Either if you're watching it live or recorded, make sure you give us a thumbs up and drop a comment below stating, hey, I would love to know how to find landlords. And we'll cover that for you in another video. But today was just all about wholesaling tax delinquent properties. So I did put this in the comment section below. So here's the link. All you need to do is click on it, schedule a time. We'll be good to go with talking to you. All of us right now are working from home. Jay, do you see right now, for folks that are wanting to do this, can they do this from home? Is this something? I know the answer, but I just want to ask you because I know we're getting some folks that are asking that offline. So is this something that you could do virtually?
Yeah, think about this. So I'm a logistics guy. I always tell people, Just like this past weekend when we were training people, I'm like, hey, I do logistics for companies outside of real estate. Real estate investment is my favorite sandbox of all time. So I'm a logistics guy. Can you logistically do something? And I've had training on logistics. Okay. So can you execute and logistically do stuff without leaving your house? Yeah. If I get, let's just say in my county, this is 5,000 good tax delinquent leads right here. I'm not going to physically shove all the envelopes, right? I'm not going to physically take them to the mailbox. I'm going to send it off to our mail house person, which we have inside our tax delinquent blueprint. They're going to do all that. The letter tells them what to do. The one thing that I would tell you to do if you're putting down any, and this is an easy one for you to get set up to ready to go. And Mike and Jason, you could attest to this. You can do this from home. The mail's out the door. I can grab that list without leaving my house.
Yeah.
I could have somebody else send out the list for me, and we'll give you our good contacts inside the tax delinquent blueprint. They're the #1 mail house for real estate in America. So we'll give you access to them so they can do that for you. The only thing that I would tell you to take a big note on right now, because it will be your favorite niche and we want you to win. And Mike, I know you could attest to this, and I'm sure he'll smile. You probably, because it's good, folks, you probably want to get a different phone number for your tax care program, whole separate phone number. And Mike's smiling because
you do. Remember, you need a dedicated line just for this.
Because they'll be calling. I'm telling you, they'll be calling, and you're not one of those that you won't even take those calls. There'll be fun incoming phone calls, but you want them on a separate phone line because you don't ever want to mix up a tax advocate, a tax care company phone call with a regular motivated off-market seller lead. Because this is so far beyond what anybody else does. This isn't a fair fight, and it's not fair to your competition. But having said that, you want to have a dedicated line because we already have the voicemail just in case it goes to voicemail because you're going to get a lot of phone calls.
Yeah.
We already have a voicemail script ready for you about your tax care. Hey, you've reached Missouri Tax Care, blah, blah, blah. Hey, reference this. You can email us or fill out this form over here, and we will call you back in no less than 24 hours, and we're here to help you. You finally have an advocate on your side as far as delinquent property taxes goes, right? So that script that I just threw out there in 15 seconds, you want a dedicated phone line that has that voicemail on it. We have all that stuff down to a science backed by 6 years of data. This isn't fair on the best leads of all time. So that's one thing that you want to do with certainty if you're taking any sort of notes whatsoever. Like Jason said, schedule a call. Talk to Mike and Jason. We would love to add you to our team. We have a private Facebook group for all of our tax delinquent blueprint clients that they ask questions all day long, and we answer them as pros. So imagine a world where you're playing in the most profitable niche, some of the most motivated homeowners. Your approach, they spill their guts, and you have a real relationship with them. And so much so that you need a dedicated phone line, and you have real support on the back end with monsters like us that'll answer any question that you have.
Yep.
Plus, if you're ever in a bad mood, that dedicated phone line, you could be like, oh, it's ringing. I'm going to have an awesome phone call right now.
Yeah. Instead of all those, thank everybody. If you've listened for an hour here, I'm the one in the group that kind of don't give a crap about certain things because I've been doing this so long. Instead of all those crappy phone calls you get, oh, you're just one of those flippers, aren't you? You like all those postcards you got, and man, and then you're like, oh God, here, couldn't I get a good one today? Well, we could solve that.
Well, because you're going to spend 10 minutes on the phone just getting around that first objection, just so you can try to get to the point where, where you get to the point where he's just like, hey, okay, here's my problem, and can you solve it? And you have to beat down that mindset that's like, I don't want to sell to this guy. Why would he's not looking to help me. He's looking at himself.
Like every other person I talk to. So
yeah, no, I'm going to call this guy who's like, he's more interested in me.
Why do you think I say this isn't fair? So this RAM, it goes to foreclosure, first lien holder, blah, blah, blah. Tax liens always get paid.
Yeah.
Property ownership changes hands, forecloses. Tax liens always get paid.
Hey, real quick, we're going to be wrapping up here real soon, but we will stay for a little bit to answer some questions here quickly. I know Jay's got to get going. Mike's got to get going. I've got to get going. So if you have any questions, type them in. right now. We'll get them answered for you because I did promise that we would do some Q&A. So I see some questions coming in, and we will answer them. So we'll stay on for just a little bit and get these taken care of. Matthew's asking, do you run the calls to a service or handle in-house?
So, hey, Matt, my Facebook friend, what's up? It depends on how hard and heavy you're hitting the, how big your list is that you're hitting. I would tell you at first, it's the very first thing that we teach when we do a blueprint, just like the other 2 days. You're the CEO, so you need to master this flow. And then after that, you can leverage and scale it up. So what I would tell you is do your first couple runs, do your first 2 or 3 runs where you're taking the incoming calls. So you get the flow and the feel and the nature and the relationship of the calls so that you can intelligently hand it off. But at some point you want to hand it off so that the other people that are on your tax care advocate team can ask the right questions. And then you call them back in 48 hours or less and tell them what you think you can do, and give them multiple solutions, which is what we teach you inside the Tax Delinquent Blueprint. The only solution is not just to buy their house. So that's one of the big reasons why this is wildfire based versus anything else that you've ever done.
Yep. No, I absolutely agree with you on that one. Here's a great question. What is your percentage rate for closing these leads?
So I speak in terms of data. Mike and Jason here know that I'm a data-driven guy because these big companies, it's all about tracking the metrics and cap rates, compressed cap rates, all this other stuff. So I would tell you a couple things. Out of 30 different ways that we get off-market leads, this one closes at a 80% clip better than all those other lead sources. So I'll tell you that to start out with. And then it's really just homeowner dependent. But I would tell you if we take 10 phone calls, and I always talk in terms of incubating deals, okay? But if we take 10 phone calls, we're easily probably gonna be a solution, and that end solution be buy their house and give them some cash and solve a few problems. Easily 2 out of 10, easily, right?
Those are great numbers.
I want to impress upon those other ones where we offer them different solutions, but maybe the end solution isn't that we buy their house right now. We incubate those deals. And what I mean by this, the approach is so good that when they decide to sell down the road, they call us. So I don't even care about like closing the deal with these. I truly care about helping them. So I don't care about closing the deal with them on the spot. We leave it with them. Hey, look, has anybody ever tried to help you in all these different ways? They go, no, never. I go, okay, good. We do not want you to lose this house, Mr. Smith. We do not want you to lose this house at a tax sale or at a tax lien converted to a tax deed sale. So if it starts to go that way, as you've already experienced with us, call us immediately. We'll do everything we can to stop it. And then they call us. So I don't even care about how many out of 10 do I close on the spot, but we close 2 out of 10, maybe on a better month, 3 out of 10, which is way better than 1 out of 25 to 30 people that you talk to. That's why I'm saying it's the approach and the niche. Those 2 things together, Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. This isn't fair. Not fair.
Love the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. The Dairy Queen's got something really cool. I'm not sure if you heard of it. It's called a Blizzard. And you can get Oreos and Reese's in the Blizzard. So it's pretty amazing.
That's 3 things.
And if you go through the drive-thru, you don't even have to wear pants.
That is true. That is true. You could be in your car and not have any pants on.
I mean, you'd be in your skivvies.
You know what? With everything being virtual, how often are you not in your skivvies these days?
I know.
Don't stand up. Don't stand up.
Hey, I was about to say, we should do a giveaway right now. If you can pick which person isn't wearing pants, if you can pick which person isn't wearing pants, we'll give you a script or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, we got Starbucks gift card. What do we want to give them for picking up who's not wearing pants?
Let's see here. I've got all these gift cards and a bunch of silver. Let's see, where are these? Silver's, I think, $14-15 right now. So
plus, if YouTube dies and the world comes to an end, that silver might be worth a lot more.
Hey, you know what to give away? We got to give away toilet paper. It's the most valuable commodity right now, right?
You're gonna have to run the stakes up a little higher if we're giving away toilet paper.
Adam, which Jason? Jason Palliser or your buddy Jason Lucchese?
Guess
Yeah.
we're gonna have to clarify too, right?
We've got a stack of Starbucks gift cards that we didn't give a ton away.
Well, let's do this. Let's have real fun with it. Jason, Mike, guess which one of us isn't wearing pants? If you get it right, whatever, just email us and if you get it right, we'll email you back the voicemail script. Is that fair?
There we go. There we go.
Here.
Yeah, I mean, we can ask for it 50 times a week. They're like, "Hey, dude, I heard your well, we have a winner.
We got Chris. Everybody's
Pants are overrated. Pants are overrated.
Also, everybody, I'm not wearing pants. No, I'm just joking. Let's see.
Winner fairway.
R2.
Jason. There we go.
Vanita,
you know it, girl.
Everybody's guessing Palliser. He's
well,
never got pants on. That's a safe
Jason
bet.
is the correct answer. So,
I like being solutions for people when I'm free flowing. Is that okay? Is it anything wrong with that? I mean, I was born naked.
You mean leg prisons? No, I don't wear pants.
So if you, we'll hook you up. So Adam would like to know.
Whoa,
define pants.
Oh,
define pants. Anything that restricts me.
So that's clothing in general, which might even be a tunic. We don't know at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
I like going Sasquatch. I like going Sasquatch.
Commando. So if you guys would like that, email Mike. His email is in front on the screen right now. So you guys should be good to go with that. We'll get you hooked up. That was on Jason. I was not expecting that. That is right off the cuff with Mr. Palliser there, the travel assassin.
Trust me, when they do a video with me back, hey, can you impart some wisdom on people? They also, that given day, they wake up with a little bit extra anxiety. Trust me.
Well, it was definitely because Jason introduced me to Palliser, and I'm used to Jason Lucchese, those of you who know us, we've got our own thing. We go way back, and I didn't think there would be another one. I figured I found the only one. I grew up with them. I got pretty lucky. Had a pretty, really good friend, and no one else got but then he's like, hey, I've got this friend, Jason Palliser, and he starts talking to me, and I'm like, why are you talking like this? That's how you and I talk.
I know, exactly. We should probably do a reveal, right? Right, Mike? So here's a reveal. First time ever on YouTube. So once Mike and I met and we started working together, I mean, we kind of kicked off our relationship together. It blossomed. Okay, so it blossomed a little bit. And him and Jason Lucchese have been friends for a long time. And then finally we got to the point to we were just texting each other back and forth. And I changed him my phone too to BFF. And so we're just revealing right now, I took over the #1 spot as a BFF. So
oh, really? Is that what happened?
Little heart should be flowing up on the screen right now.
Oh, man.
That's too funny. Hey, we got a real question. People have been wondering about the pants, but we got a good question here from Bernadette. What do you do when and if there are other liens on the properties? So great question.
Okay, so Bernadette, if there's other, and a lot of times there will be other liens on the property. A lot of times they do still have a mortgage. The mortgage company hasn't got around to foreclosing on them yet. So that's just when there's other liens on the property, that's simply just finding out again what's the amount they're behind on taxes, what's the lien, what do we think the after repair values are. That's where you just go into your normal what's the end value of the property, and is there a way to help them and get all their liens paid off, right? Maybe put some cash in their pocket. Again, and I'm glad you're asking the question, because I think now, and the people who listen to this thing in its entirety, you're realizing and understanding that these people really do need help, because when you're at the point to where you're missing years of taxes on your property, something bad's happened. You can't get a loan. So even if there is equity, even if they do have another loan on it, maybe they're struggling to pay those other liens or loans on it. So you just find out what those total liens are, what's it worth, and then work a solution, reverse engineer a solution from there, and try and make it win-win. And again, I think it's starting to bleed through on this call that we don't buy our house. We try and find real solutions for them. And so from time to time, of course, there's other liens on the property, and that's just where you would assess what's total owed on it versus what is it worth, and then we just see if there's some sort of solution from there.
Yep, great answer. I think we're gonna be wrapping up here. If you guys are not subscribers of the channel yet, you are missing out because we do live streams like this on a frequent basis. Plus, if you become a subscriber and you hit that notification bell, you'll get notified of when brand new videos pop up. So if you missed out on this video, like when it first came out and you didn't get to ask any questions during the live stream, you will be able to do that when you become a subscriber and you hit that notification bell. It's free. It's on YouTube. We're not charging anything. So make sure you do that. Make sure you hit a thumbs up on this video as well. Drop a comment below if you would like to get that letter of intent document. We'll go ahead and share that on either Wednesday or Thursday. So here, hold on.
You know, one other thing is when
this will be last question. Well, also too, I wanted to point out, make sure you go to the link for booking a call with us. It's on the screen right now. It's calendly.com/no flipping excuses /tax. Here's last question. Last question.
Well, yes. Hey, schedule a call too. Like Jason said, if you guys been listening and develop 5 to 10 questions, that's what scheduling a phone call is about. We'll answer a lot of those questions for you, show you what we could do. We'd love to add you to our team. So that's why you'd be scheduling a call, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a great question from Scott Gilbert. Can you share a problem you've solved so far?
Yeah. You want me to, or you too, Jason? Or
we've probably got many to do, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll give you one. If you want to give one, I'll give one. So we ran into a homeowner, tax delinquent. Lady's husband passed away. Her relatives lived in the house because she had moved 2 hours away. Her relatives had moved into that house, and they torched it. They tore it apart. They weren't paying rent. They weren't doing anything. She'd already lost a loved one. She was on a fixed income. She called us. We asked a bunch of questions because we're a tax care advocate, because we come from the standpoint of educating her. So we educated her on what we could do. We set an appointment for 2 weeks later because she doesn't live in town. And then she showed up at the house. Sure enough, the house was torched. And then literally we went through back taxes, moving her stuff for her. We offered to cut her grass whether we buy the house or not. So when she got there, we got there early that day and cut her grass. She came in, started crying. She's like, no one's ever willing to help me like this. I'm like, we are. And she had no mortgages on the house, but she couldn't get a loan. She's on a fixed income. She couldn't debt ratio. The house needed like 50, 60, 70 grand in work. And we got it under contract, paid her back taxes, put an extra 20 grand in cash in her pocket, helped her move all of her stuff, helped her stop getting fines for all the tall grass and this and that code violations. And we did that whether we bought the house or not, which is a technique that we teach people. And then we actually wholesaled it to somebody else who fixed it up and then flipped it like 8-9 months later. And we wholesaled that and made 70 grand. It was a good one.
That's nice. You know, most of the folks too, and Jay, correct me if I'm wrong on this, because I would say probably 85% of the folks we talk to are on a fixed income. And it's extremely difficult for them to do any type of a payment plan, because if they fail that payment plan, they're not going to be able to get onto another payment plan again. So we came across an older woman that
you need to explain payment plan so people understand, because if they're new to this,
so you can work out a payment plan with your county. So say, for instance, you're behind $5,000 on your taxes. You're going to work out a payment plan with them to have them recoup some of those funds. And you're going to, there's going to be penalties. There's going to be associated fees on top of those taxes, because they want their money. And if it's been sitting for a while, they want that money. So what's going to happen is they're going to set you up on a payment plan, and you guys are going to agree to terms on that payment plan. And if you fail that payment plan, what's going to happen is you're going to have to owe all of that money. You're going to go on the next tax auction, and you're going to lose the house, depending on if there's a redemption period in your state or not. So that's what the payment plan looks like. Once you fail that payment plan with the county, you'll never be approved for another payment plan ever again.
So some counties, and I want to expand for everybody.
Yeah.
Some counties, not all. Okay. So again, that's what we teach you inside the tax delinquent blueprint, the right questions to ask so that you literally develop your advocacy program around what your county does. So a lot of the counties I work in don't even offer a payment plan. Some of the ones that you guys work in, Jason and Mike, do offer a payment plan. It's basically like a second chance to a homeowner. It's like, hey, look, you're about to lose this. We will, if you start paying us, show us that you can pay us consistently. But once they fail that one, it's over. So that's why the way that we approach this is again, and I don't do anything based upon feeling. I got to track all the data for 6 years, as you guys know. 130 something markets where they're reporting, hey, that change we made got a 5% better response. Hey, this change we made got a 13% better response. We alluded to it earlier. What are direct mail response rates? 1 or 2%. The stuff that we're doing, you guys are smirking. You're like, don't do it. Don't do it live. Guys, we're getting. I know, and all the little groups you're in, and people talk about direct mail. And man, I got a 2% response rate. That's like destroying my competition by 100%. Well, what if I told you we're getting 7, 8, 9, 10? I had one guy. I won't say it. I had one guy that got I will say it. His name's Scott. Okay. He had a 40.5% response rate over a 6-week run. So they dropped the mail and 40.5, but that was adding that one extra nasty wrinkle to the marketing piece that we teach. Because there's little things that you can add or subtract to it based upon your area that we teach you. And so he added the golden goose nugget to the marketing piece that we already send out. And he had a 40.5% response rate. His name's Scott Jordan. You have to look him up on Facebook. You can ask him yourself. Okay. He's from St. Louis, Scott Jordan. When he tells you, then if you don't schedule a call, then at least look in the mirror every day and go, okay, I'm the problem.
You know what's really great about being part of the community, because you said Scott, he's in the group. Every single person we talk about, or you've talked about, they're in the group. So not only it's like, hey, you're taking this approach, but it's like, hey, these are the other people that you were talking about Scott. Oh, here's Scott. I can actually talk to Scott. Like, I'm going to figure out what's going on because I want to be like Jason. I want to be like Scott. I want to be like Langston. I want to be like so on and so on and so on.
Well, here, and just look at it this way. Remember, I'm a logistics guy. For those of you who hear this, and you're like, man, you know what? I never thought about the niche this way, that the banks would foreclose. So these are probably closer to free and clear houses. Why would I not just, in general, why would I not just hit this niche and make it my favorite? You should, right? But let's just think from a logistics standpoint. If you've done this for any amount of time whatsoever, you've done any mailing whatsoever. What if we just told you that we could get a 4% response rate? Should you be on the phone with us right now? If we said you can get a 4% response rate, should you be asking us questions about, yeah, tell me more about how I can be the absolute advocate for my city and have everybody know to come to me? We can solve that. We can do that, right? So if we could get a 4% or 3% when everybody else goes, I got a 0.5% or 1%, that means you're already 300 to 400 times response rate than your competition. Like, it's candy from a baby as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. And to get back to just making sure Scott's taken care of, I think he was just asking like if we're truly solving problems or not. I'm not sure what the question, but what we did was the lady was on fixed income. She was extremely freaked out because older woman lost her husband. Her family is far and they don't really help out that much. So she needed funds for being able to move to a senior living community. She didn't know how to do that. So what we did was we were able to help her get into a really nice senior living facility. And we were able to also help her with moving. And we also helped her out with some of the items in the house. She didn't want all of those items anymore. So what we were able to do is we were able to have somebody come in and put all those items up on eBay, collect a 10% fee from those. So we were able to help that. She also got some additional funds in her pocket for that on top of the money that we were able to give her. And so we helped her out with moving. So we had a truck come similar to Jay. we help out a lot of these folks. We found a place for her that she felt comfortable at, and we've been following up with her now for the past 6 months. We send her a letter, just make sure that she's doing okay. Just older individual, family doesn't really keep in contact anymore. So we wanted to be, an individual that wanted to also touch base with her after the fact as well. So the house needed, I believe, $32,000 worth of work. She did not have that. She had no money in the bank. So now we were able to put some money in her bank. She had a reasonable monthly payment at the senior living community and didn't have to worry about mowing the lawn. She didn't have to worry about the roof anymore. She didn't have to worry about the mold in the crawl space. She didn't have to worry about any of that more. So I think that's several problems that we solved for just one individual.
Yeah, and the one I spoke of, I mean, she was the code violations were piling up. Like they were, she couldn't pay those fines. She couldn't pay the taxes.
Yeah.
She certainly couldn't pay to fix the house up. She certainly didn't know how, at her age, I think she was 60 something. I'm guessing. She isn't going to be able to move an entire house full of furniture. Like we helped out on several different levels. She started crying because we helped her. She's like, no one's helped me like this. And she goes, and you guys even offer to cut my grass, even though whether you buy my house or not. And we're like, yeah, we're here to help you. We tell them we can buy any house. We don't buy every house. We can buy any old house off the MLS if we wanted to. But we try and help homeowners, whether we buy your house or not. That's up to us to help you find a good solution. Yeah. And she was overcome. She's like, man, everybody just makes me an offer and tries to justify why my house is a piece of crap. I'm like, well, then I'm glad we found you.
Yeah. I had a seller that I was at her house talking to her when another wholesaler had called her about her house. And she told me, she's like, oh, yeah, that was somebody else about, wanting to buy my house. She knew I was wholesaling the house. She didn't care. I had such a good relationship with her. She just told the other person, okay, thanks for calling. Okay, bye. And then she's like, oh, that was another wholesaler. She looks at me, that was another wholesaler. And then we get back to our conversation.
Yeah, the relationship wins. End of story. The relationship wins. It's rarely, if ever, about the numbers. Mm-hmm. And what we're talking about here, and as you're listening, like, hey, were you a solution? You're just on your end when you're asking those questions, which are good questions. You're asking those questions, becoming like, man, I'm starting to get the feeling that, yeah, I'm starting to understand why this might be a really good niche for me, right? Because everybody thinks in terms of themselves. It might be a really good niche for me with more equity, bigger spreads. But imagine a world where you also, with bigger spreads, it's easy for you to help people. Deals don't close without two parties agreeing. I've never seen it happen, right? So you just have to do your best to be the absolute solution for them. And I'm telling you right now, it's not looking like everyone else. Your solution isn't to lose. Hey, before you lose your house, let me put some cash in your pocket. I'll help you move. Everybody says that crap. Are you kidding me? Right? So come to them with real solutions. Educate them. Hey, in our area, you have this, and then you're 3 years behind. Then you do this. Here's a redemption period. What you may or may not know is that this is going to happen to you. We're going to still stick you with these particular fines. We teach you that. We teach you the right things to know so that when you have a conversation, it'll be a conversation with homeowners that they've never experienced with anybody else except for you. And then you're going to win. And winning means you find out you have the real relationship. That's the win. You have a real relationship with them that you can find real solutions, and you also benefit from it as a professional real estate investor, whether you wholesale it, whether you buy the house and keep it for yourself for cash flow purposes, turn it into an Airbnb, fix it up because it needs work that they didn't have the money for, and flip it later and make money and make the community better. All of those things, none of that happens unless they respond to you, unless you have the best relationship, and unless you can educate them and show them multiple ways to help them versus I'm going to just steer them down a cash offer every time. We don't do that. That's what the whole program, that's what all that data coming back to me. Because at first we started out with a pretty sexy tax letter, and they're like, hey man, we're getting a lot more responses. And they would just go into, hey, look, you're in a pickle. Before you lose it, let's put cash in your pocket. And that's the way we started out. And they're like, man, they just keep hitting us with, you're one of those damn flippers. You're blah, 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 right? And so I was like, okay, well, let's not do that anymore. Let's find other. So we brainstormed on other ways that we can help them without buying their house. And so then they started doing that. And they're like, hey, you know what I found? I got all the feedback. Here's what they said. They're like, hey, you know what I'm finding? even though we offer them all these other solutions, they really just say, you know what, let's just, if you can buy it and put some cash and you can solve this and this, let's go this direction. So even though we're offering all these other solutions, as I started getting all the data back, so in some markets, I was just doing it the same old way. Some markets, I started adding those wrinkles. Then and you guys already know I'm sick in the head, but now everybody that listens to this know how sick I am. All the way down to testing what order we say them in, right? So we even zeroed in. I'm like, hey, this month we're going to do it in this order. And then all of a sudden we get a drop in our productivity. So I'm like, okay, now let's test it this way. And so we've zeroed in on all the way down to, we already said we'll give the voicemail script, all the way down to what order we say things in on the different ways that we can help them. Multiple of them of which where we don't even buy their house. So no one's going to beat me to a better relationship with them. That's all I care about. So when people talk about solutions, this and that, I'm finding people who need help. I'm going to educate them, give them more solutions than anybody else has. And if the situation dictates that we end up buying their house and solving some problems for them and it's a win-win, then so be it. That's what we do. And we get testimonial after testimonial after testimonial. And the funny thing is, they're on the phone with us, not you.
That's true. That's very true.
Yep. You make my job easy. Hey, look, be a pro. You make my job easy when you do the same thing that everybody else does, and then we do something that's vastly superior and get them to go, wow, I have somebody that's really going to help me. They're on the phone with me, and if it was a battle between you and I'm not trying to be mean, I won.
Yeah. Winning
means not I won, I got the deal, and I made money. I won because I get the opportunity to create the relationship with them. You don't. So I always tell people, I'm like, hey, I don't necessarily want a bunch of competition, so keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, it's true, man. I agree 100% on it. That's how I've always been. Even when I was in the mortgage business, I was the top person in the branch and the region, mainly because I cared about those individuals and I developed those relationships. Mike knows, he was with me at Countrywide and, saw what I was able to do and climb up through the ranks pretty quickly. And it was due to just, relationships.
Actually, Jason, we were going to have a story on how your earliest connection I don't know, it's a little late right now. Maybe we'll cover it on the next video. But how you would just go out and create relationships back in the days of running around the mall as grade schoolers and getting free pizzas.
Yeah, that was the thing. We didn't really have a whole lot to do in my mom.
I don't know. Do I have time to tell it right now? Because it's a good story. Maybe we'll have to save it for the next one. But
okay, yeah, we could save it for the next one.
Yeah, it's a good negotiation story, and basically what he's saying, going out and finding out like what is this person's problem, and how do I fit into their solution.
And sometimes you're going to run into homeowners, and when you come from this space and they spill their guts, which is a dream, that alone should be a dream come true for you right now. If you're hearing this, you're like, I would love to have a niche where I do it right. And they just come to me and spill their guts. Like sometimes they have tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of problems. Like if you take a call from Jason, you'll be on the phone with him for an hour and a half. I mean, God. Yeah.
Oh dear.
He's a talker.
No, Mike is the
come on.
Mike's
I got this thing, so I don't have to hold the phone up.
I had to lead into some fun, right?
Nice. Well, Jay, Mike, any parting words from you guys before we go ahead and end the live broadcast?
Yeah, I'll just say this. Hey, if you watch this start to finish, congrats. Like you're here because you're like, okay, you're ingesting and implanting in your brain. You know what? Maybe I should evaluate what niche I really focus on as a professional investor. And congratulate yourself for listening and starting to conceptualize and figure out maybe there is a vastly superior and better way to connect with homeowners that really need help. So if you just take that from our conversation, then you've done something for you and your business. So if you want to email and get a copy of the script because you guessed that I was the one that wasn't wearing pants, good for you. Okay.
Hey, hold on. Where's Jess at to confirm this?
She's on her way back down to Florida. I'm still up here at our Airbnb in St. Louis. So, but she could confirm. Trust me. Now, having said that, if you guys want to schedule a call, talk to us and say, hey, we'll answer some questions for you. We'll talk to you about some of the other things in detail that we do. And I think it'll be crystal clear that if you want to be the absolute go-to person in your marketplace for anybody that's delinquent on tax, we can make that happen the right way because we have it all down to a science.
Cool.
Yeah. And if you want to know more about that, Jason, you posted the link. Book a call. We'll walk you through it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go ahead. I'm looking at the phone right now. I'm gonna put something down in the comment section for you guys after we're done. But other than that, Jay, Mike, thanks for showing up for today. I know we went longer than expected, but hey, this was really good. We shared a ton of information. So people want more and they have questions above and beyond this, we'll be more than happy to answer them. Just go ahead and book the call. It's absolutely free. It's no charge to do a call with us. But yeah, that is it. Jay, Mike, awesome. Thanks for coming on, guys. And I will talk to you guys later. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.